Hello and welcome to our show Bottom Line. In this episode, we are going to discuss what Trump has done to the world today. According to media reports and social media reports, that both Iran and US are talking about some kind of a pause. That means Trump will not attack Iran. That also means Iran will allow Strait of Hormuz to be open and charge money on that. At the end of it, nobody knows who has won and who has lost. But it is obvious that the world has lost billions of dollars during the past 30 days. Many people have died. Much more destruction has happened in the Middle East countries. But Trump, as usual, in the morning he says, I will finish the civilization. Next morning he says, I'm willing to talk. What does it mean for the world? What does it mean for America? What does it mean for Iran, South Asia? We are going to discuss these issues along with my colleague, Mr. Shankar here. Shankar, welcome to Bottom Line again. And we are looking for a bottom line, what Trump has done, as usual. It's a Trumpian tumble or something else. What do you make out of it? I can't make anything out of it. Because he says something in the morning that I will finish civilization altogether. Second day he says, no, we are sitting together. We are friends again. We will make them develop faster. You will become developed. We will give you money. Everything I will give you. I can't make out what has happened, in fact.
So it is the way the 10 points of the peace plan has been listed. The first thing is that nobody has an official copy of it. Everybody has gathered points from someone, and so 10 points are there. Now, if you look at the 10 points, Prabhu, I would tend to agree with your view that this is a Trumpian tumble. I think there is no bottom line in this for Trump. I mean, everything that he has been ranting about for the last 1 year, nothing has changed. There is, for instance, what was his first demand? Help is on its way, regime change. The same regime is there. Then Netanyahu and he spoke about the nuclear facilities, enrichment of uranium, plus the missile sites. Now the 10 point says we will continue to enrich.
Because the problem with Trump is that there are 24 hours a day. He makes 27 statements. He makes 27 statements. So you can't figure out which one is correct. But yesterday he said, I'm going to finish the whole civilization in Iran. And when we wake up in the morning, we found that no, it is not civilization, end of civilization. It is the end of Trumpism for the time being. It's a pause, but it's the beginning of his end. We don't make out. Because something which is made up that first time Strait of Hormuz, which was according to Maritime International Treaty, is a free trade zone where everybody can pass without it's a maritime which is used by international boundary. We found first time that Trump has already given up this right to Iran unilaterally. That means that is correct, that Iran will be able to impose like toll, na dakati hota na, jaise when you walk through my door, I'll charge you so much of money. So Iran has been recognized official dacoit, ransom collector by Trump himself. That's the one fallout of this which I can make out. What happens, we don't know. So this is the terms of trade which he has settled to save his own skin back home and destroy the rest of the economy. Because Japanese Prime Minister has given a statement today, yes, she has spoken to Trump also, that it is not possible, but what he says, international public good. She has used the phrase, international public good, we can't accept it. So how it will be implemented, I don't understand. Because $80 billion of oil from Japan comes from that Hormuz.
So the toll itself is a very interesting concept. Till now, as you rightly said, that there has been no toll for 47 years of this Islamic government of Iran. The other thing is America's first wars were on tolls imposed in waterways, and it has always fought for free navigation. Now Hormuz, every day around 140, 150 ships pass through. At the rate of $2 million, the Iranians will collect about $100 billion, which they didn't ever imagine that they would collect. So
every day?
No, $100 billion in a year. Every day would be roughly in a year. So every day would be about $300 million or something. So what Iran has done, it has got a bigger weapon now than even the nuclear bomb. See, the nuclear cannot be used, but you can shut off Hormuz anytime. So
The basic.
they've handed over a much more potent weapon to, and I think one thing that I noticed is that in his statement on Easter Day, where he used four-letter words and abusive language, and his second statement where he said a civilization will be finished, was reflecting his desperation, his frustration. And so he has agreed to talk about whatever the first piece of paper that has come in front of him. I think he has accepted. There must be enormous internal pressure. If you see, Marco Rubio is not going for the peace talks. It is JD Vance who is going. So in that cabinet, Marco Rubio is the pro-war fellow and JD Vance is the anti-war fellow.
No, coming back to this, what has happened today, because it is going Friday, talks will start. What happens on Friday, we don't know, because Trump may wake up next morning on the wrong side of the bed and say something else. But coming what is existing today, that is one thing very clearly happened, that you started the war, you destroyed the economy of many nations, and for that punishment has to be made by everybody else. You're given the right of collection to Iran, which was not there. So America unilaterally are granted the right to collect toll to Iran, which is not acceptable to anybody else. So what's the way out? It's not working out altogether because most of the people will not accept it.
Now, this thing, what you're saying is, it is not even America. The world will pay for a madness of Mr. Donald Trump, because it was his
What I'm saying,
dream
na,
that he will do, that he will change regime, he will do this, he will do that. And then once those aircraft got $600 million of aircraft they lost in the desert there, after that, I think, after that setback, I think they decided, okay, let's pull out. And
this
here, the
10-point program.
$2 million may be one issue, but that could be even accepted. But the insurance companies should be willing to insure the ships, no? Because this is such an uncertain situation that they have created. And even if $2 million are paid, what is the guarantee some other fellow is not going to fire at you?
Yeah, there are Houthis that are around that area also. They can fire from the other side. They can do it. But coming back to this whole fundamentalism, because war was started because Netanyahu wanted to start the war, and Trump fell into that trap, and therefore everybody got together, and Iran would use economic tool like this, what they've done. It was not anticipated by their World Bank economists or the Harvard educated economists. They will not press. They were raising the issue, but subtly. But within the Trump administration, obviously nobody knew that this could be used by Iran. The result is that this economic blockade. Now it is a blockade in terms of you pay the ransom, you get your oil. You don't pay the ransom, you won't get your oil. So in the end, Trump has also lost, so has the rest of the world, because they are to end up paying billions of dollars to Iran, illegitimate government. There is no government there. Who they are dealing with, we don't know.
Whatever the thing, Iran has found the perfect in the geopolitics of wrestling, or the wrestling ki geopolitics. Iran has found the perfect chokehold. Whenever they want, they can shut this strait, which nobody had imagined. Some people had, for 20, 30 years, this has been there in the US security establishment, that you don't touch Iran because he will do this, they will do this, or whatever. What Trump thought, that if I knock off the first 10 heads, there will be nobody to take a decision. But can you imagine that country? The system is still working after some 100 people have been knocked out, of which around 60, 70 are senior people. Even the other day, they eliminated the intel head
Chief of
of the
intelligence.
army. Yeah. Even then, they have such a coherent and cogent response to the war. There is no shifting. How the embassies have trolled Trump could be a whole book on how they created the atmosphere for that. But I think there is a gross miscalculation, and in this, the real world experience of Iran, having fought a 10-year-old war with Iraq, has come in handy, because they have no downside, na Prabhu. What is the downside for Iran? They will kind of, ठीक है, कल पानी नहीं है, बिजली नहीं है, whatever. But for Trump, a loss in the midterm, for the other countries' economic loss, for the payment of this cost for the weapons, all of this. And the asymmetry is so beautiful in this war because Iran is like David and US and
Goliath.
irregular Goliath. And वो गुलेल से खेलते थे ना catapult war. So they are
No,
doing all kinds of technology improvement. They have downed more aircraft
Shankar,
of
no,
US.
Shankar, in this kind of war which has happened today, a small country like Iran, it cannot, it was threatening through uranium, it has atomic power, it could not do that much of damage. What they have done by closing one little 22-kilometer long canal there. So they had the hidden weapon which none of us could understand, none of the Americans can understand. It's a case study for Harvard University. They do all kinds of faltu studies. They can do a Harvard study how to manage win a war without fighting. Basically, their leadership is
No,
killed,
no.
their leadership is eliminated. Who runs even we don't know. There is the president, there is a speaker, there is somebody else. We don't know who are they talking to. But question, in this is a new economic terms of trade which has been dictated by Iran. They're, they have dictated terms of they have redefined the international trade now.
No, the whole game theory, which several universities have been sort of writing about game theory, the zero benefit theory, the game theory, everyone will lose, nobody will lose, Pareto possibility, Overton window, all of this has been reduced to one neat column by Iran saying that if you touch me, I will touch. Not only the Hormuz Straits, Prabhu, their ability to strike at will across the Gulf nations. So all the US bases have been hit. Now the US armed forces, many of them can't live in the bases. They are all staying in hotels. So they have chosen their plan very well. And I think that there is a big lesson here that what is unacceptable, what the Japanese Prime Minister also said in terms of there are things that are not acceptable in international.
Yes.
I mean, the
Shankar,
morality, immorality of it is stark.
no, Shankar, there's another thing which seems to be happen. Earlier in the international economics, global trade, whenever America used to smile, rest of the world used to laugh also, feeling very happy.
Right.
So what is happening now, if the America is now crying, the rest of the world is laughing now. That okay, America goes down, rest of the world goes up. Like stock market has gone up today by 2,000 points or whatever. All over the world, I am told stock markets have gone up. And America was bombing them, it was going down. So it's an inverse relationship happen that American system, American way of looking at the thing is really almost is becoming a myth now because international trade doesn't depend on what America does.
No, that is true in a sense that the unity that was there around what America said and everybody sang the chorus, that's no longer there. And that came very obvious when the NATO allies said, no, we will not come and help you clean up this mess. Because they said, we have not been consulted. This is between you and Netanyahu, deal with it. And even on the economic front, they said that, okay, we will deal with whatever our pain is, but we are, and so the most interesting thing is that for 15 years, this country, Iran, has had a sanction on it. Russia has had sanctions on it. In the 30 days of this stupid war, Trump has had to lift sanctions on both the countries. Not only that, now Iran says lift primary sanctions, secondary sanctions, release our assets. So what has Trump achieved? What has this war achieved for them?
No, basically, Iran has become much more richer in terms of availability of funds available to it. Sanctions are going to be lifted. Hormuz will become a source of income for them. Uranium they will retain. What has America got in this whole thing?
That's the bottom line. Actually, what has America got is not clear. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of money that they spend, the people that they put at risk, their own soldiers have got killed, they lost equipment, and they have earned such ill will across the nation because of that one incident of 160 children being killed in that school in Minab. What would America say if this was to be summarized? I think even the AI chat GPTs and Geminis will have a tough time summarizing this 36-day war. And what's so sad is that there was a time, as you rightly said, when America set the standards of language, of conduct, whatever. Whether they followed it or not is a separate story, and we in India have had much experience about this, starting with Kissinger and Nixon and others. But there was this illusion, at least,
So I'll
that
stop
this
you, Shankar.
war has
I'll interrupt. I'll interrupt you here. Now, looking at what is happening, we are going to conclude it. What is happening now? The geopolitics has taken an interesting turn. Now, Iran seems to be more powerful than America. The rest of the world, which was affected, would like to have direct access to Iran after sanctions are lifted, obviously. Now, geopolitics is that you're talking about the whole, ultimately, it was becoming a unipolar world. Everybody was turning towards America. Russia was going down. The fallout is the Iran is more powerful. Second fallout is now we are heading towards not only bipolar, but multipolar now geopolitics, where everybody can play an important player. Euro will play India. I don't know where it exists now. India exists in the whole thing. And third is raising the standard of Pakistan, terror state, terror country, prime minister of that state, putting a draft and tweet. Somebody drafted for him, he put it on that, but he says, Pakistan emerging as the most acceptable, credible, alternative mediator between Iran and America. Israel is nowhere in the picture. So these three changes in the geopolitics means Iran becoming much more acceptable now, more correcting the more way of money, and China and Russia are not playing a very important role, yet becoming more important players in terms of economics. Third thing which is more important, if you have heard or not, I heard the Singapore foreign minister, he was talking on the speech. He says, you are talking about this 40 to 22 kilometer, 27 kilometer. Singapore, state of Singapore is much more important. It is only 2 kilometer nautical millimeter, and much more oil and everything flows from that. He said, we cannot accept it because we are allowing free access. How can somebody else put it there? This is the third dimension coming into the state of Singapore, which is just 2 nautical miles, and they are not willing to accept Hormuz as a conditional where you have to pay. So many questions have arisen out of this toll. Multipolar discussion, American allies like Japan not agreeing with. So whether it will work or not, I don't know. Pakistan, failed state, how can they hold something there?
So two great paradoxes, Prabhu, in this. Israel and America thought that they will reduce Iran to a no condition to come.
On the
But
knees.
Iran seems to be emerging as the major power throughout Middle East and West Asia. Now, if it has this income, this oil, the sanctions are lifted, and all the countries are talking to it, this is changing the conflict configuration of geopolitics in that area. Now, all the GCC countries will have to worry more about Iran. Israel will have to worry more about Iran. US will have to worry more about Iran. The other paradox is this whole thing was about nuclear, terrorism, and all. And who is the peacemaker in this? The peacemaker is another country which is being sanctioned by the UN, whose people, whose gangs, where Osama bin Laden was living. So all of this is adding there. And the third thing that I feel that may come through is that there will be many pressures, counter pressures, and that is why I say that when they meet on Friday, the agenda for Saturday and Sunday will be set. The agenda for the rest of the year, I don't know. So the bottom line seems to be completely invisible in this for America, and the bottom line is very clearly visible for Iran.
So let us come down to our own country. What is the bottom line for India? Because we are nowhere in the picture at the moment, because we were friendly with Iran before the war started. We were more friendly with America, and both of them have gone to Pakistan against what we don't like. It is for us is something which we can't accept. So what is bottom line? Our markets have gained, that's the one thing. But our gases are expensive, our other things are expensive, our supply chain has broken. So what is the good? It is a good news for us, at least in terms of economics, isn't it?
But the crude oil prices are not going to fall that immediately because capacity has been constrained. There is a lot of destruction. So what we were buying at $65, we will be paying around $85, $90 or $85 as the RBI has estimated. The dollar which we were buying for 85 rupees, we will be buying for around 95 rupees. So we had not gained economically in this, and this will visit this year's economic growth. Moody's has already downgraded our GDP and all. The second part, the more important part is that geopolitically we have made some missteps. That is very clear. That we have not been able to read the picture, read the room, as they say. And in this, the first time in 7 years, Iranian oil is coming to India. And we have declared it, announced it, and everything. But why we stop buying, why we start buying, why we are buying Venezuelan oil? So, are we sort of following the diktat of America? Is the question that is there in the minds of people. And this is something that will need a lot of clarification because for the first time in 80 years, India's economic decisions are being sort of pushed into corners.
Yeah, you are dependent. Don't you think that this is the feeling that our foreign establishment, the foreign affairs establishment, had a full faith in American might that they will be able to demolish Iran? That is what miscalculation started. That America will be able to finish Iran. Therefore, they went openly favored Israel and America all the time. Do you think that was a misplaced misunderstanding of the situation?
I think it's what they call confirmation bias. You want to be with us. So Julius Caesar had said that you people normally believe what they wish for, and that is what seems to have happened. That you want to be in a particular group. So you said that for 15 days, all the channels and all were all saying how Israel has hit Iran and how this. And suddenly
our confidence in America and Trump was misplaced. That is the bottom line.
Yes, the bottom line is that our trust in Donald Trump was totally misplaced.
Misplaced, and then emergence of Pakistan is not a good sign for us, whether it survive or not. And third, the bottom line is, what are the chances of this pact pause for what is the 15 days pause which is going to be there? Will it survive till Friday or not? Chances are 50-50 or 0 or 50-100.
So, without using my economic both hands on the one hand, on the other hand, I can say
probability.
The probability is around 40%, I think, less than 40% that this peace deal will survive.
The 60% it won't survive, you are saying?
Yeah, I think 60% only because the power that Israel has over United States, the power that Netanyahu has over Trump cannot be discounted. And today also he has tweeted that Lebanon is outside the peace deal. Now the Iran is not going to accept Hezbollah being bombed. Japan is objecting to toll.
Other things I'm just talking about. This is between two nations. We forget about that. The chances are that Trump, whatever he promises, he never delivers anyway. He changes his promises, he changes everything else. They're more likely that Trump may change his opinion, but he being pushed to the corner. Therefore, chances are that Trump may dump Israel as well. That is the possibility. And what happens, we'll discuss on Friday again. Thank you, Ayer, for joining here for Bottom Line. We'll meet again and discuss something else. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. Keep watching Bottom Line.